World War II. It is perhaps the most documented event in human history. We know the battles, the generals, that of crises, the politics that reshaped our globe. We think we see the full picture, but history is like an iceberg. What we see above the surface is only a fraction of the reality. Beneath the well trodden narrative lies a shadow world of bizarre experiments, unexplained phenomena, impossible human histories, and vanishing treasures. Today, we are peeling back the layers of the 20th century's greatest conflict to reveal the stories that does not make it into the textbooks. By 1942, the Battle of the Atlantic was reaching a crisis point. German U-boats were sinking Allied supply ships faster than they could be built. The Allies desperately needed air cover in mid-Atlantic gap, area beyond the reach of land-based planes. They needed aircraft carriers, but steel was scarce. Entered Geoffrey Pike, an eccentric British inventor working for combined operations. His solution sounded like madness. Build a massive aircraft carrier out of ice. The project was codenamed Habakkuk. The plan called for a vessel 2,000 feet long, over twice the length of the Titanic, with hull walls 40 feet thick. It would be virtually unsinkable. Torpedoes would merely chip the ice, which could be easily repaired with seawater. But normal ice was too brittle. Pike's team developed picrete, a frozen mixture of water and wood pulp. It was incredibly strong, melted slowly, and could be machined like wood. The idea was so crazy, it actually gained traction. A 60-foot prototype was secretly constructed on Patricia Lake in Canada. It worked. Winston Churchill was reportedly so enthusiastic that he once climbed into his bathtub with a block of picrete to watch it float. Yet, you have never heard of the HMS Habakkuk. Why? As the work progressed, conventional carriers became cheaper to build and long-range aircrafts improved, closing the Atlantic gap. The project was deemed too expensive and complex and was quietly abandoned in 1944. The prototype in Canada was left to melt, sinking into obscurity. The skies over Europe and the Pacific were terrifying enough with enemy fighters and flak. But starting in late 1944, Allied pilots began reporting something else entirely, something they couldn't explain. Pilots reported seeing mysterious aerial phenomena, balls of fire, glowing red or orange orbs, sometimes saucers. They would appear suddenly off their wingtips. They moved with incredible speed and maneuverability, defying the physics of known aircraft. They could stop on a dim, accelerate instantly, and seem to track the Allied planes. The pilots called them Foo Fighters, a term borrowed from a popular comic strip of the time. The sightings were so frequent that the US military took them seriously. They feared that the Germans had developed a secret advanced weapon. But after the war, it was discovered that German and Japanese pilots had also seen the exact same thing, fearing they were American secret weapons. To this day, there is no definite explanation. Theories range from weather phenomena like St. Elmo's fire to combat fatigue causing hallucinations. Yet, the consistency of the reports from veteran pilots on both sides remained unsettled. The Foo Fighters remain one of the earliest and best documented UFO mysteries of the modern era, born in the chaos of the global war. In the days following the D-Day invasion in 1944, American troops captured German prisoners near Utah Beach, stumbled upon an anomaly. Among the ranks of the supposed master race was a young Korean man wearing a German uniform who spoke neither German nor English. His name, it is believed, was Young Kyung-jong, and his story is perhaps the most bewildering human journey of the entire war. Young's impossible odyssey began in 1938. Living in Japanese-occupied Korea, he was conscripted into the Japanese Imperial Army and sent to fight the Soviets in the border battles of Manchuria. There, he was captured by the Red Army. Sent to a Soviet labor camp, his war seemed over. But as Nazi Germany invaded Russia in 1941, the desperate Soviets pressed their prisoners into service. Young was now fighting for the USSR against the Germans on the Eastern Front. In 1943, during the massive Battle of Kharkov in Ukraine, Young was captured again, this time by the Germans. The Nazis, facing manpower shortages, forced him into one of their Australians battalions made up of foreign conscripts. He was sent to France to man the Atlantic Wall, and that is where American paratroopers found him in June 1944. A Korean man forced to fight for Japan and then the Soviet Union and finally Nazi Germany before being captured by the United States. He was a pawn swept up in the violent currents of global totalitarianism, a man who wore three different uniforms in a war that wasn't his. We know that warfare is about firepower, but sometimes warfare is purely about theater. One of America's most effective tactical units in Europe didn't fire live ammunition. Their mission wasn't to kill the enemies, it was to confuse them. They were at the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, better known as the Ghost Army. This 1100-man unit was comprised not of typical soldiers, but of artists, actors, set designers, and sound engineers recruited from art schools and advertising agencies in New York and Philadelphia. Their weapons were deception. They used inflatable rubber tanks and jeeps that looked real from aerial reconnaissance. They employed massive speakers mounted on half tracks to blast recordings of armored columns moving, audible from 15 miles away. They even engaged in spoof radio, creating fake networks to mimic the radio traffic of two entire infantry divisions, convincing German intelligence that a massive attack was coming from where only ghosts existed. Ghost Army staged over 20 battlefields deceptions near the front line in France, Belgium, and Germany. Their existence was kept top secret for decades after the war, only officially declassified in 1996. It is estimated that their grand illusions saved the lives of between 15,000 and 30,000 real Allied soldiers. Finally, we turn to a mystery that remains unsolved to this day: the greatest treasure lost during the war. Before the conflict, the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg, Russia, housed the Amber Room. It was a chamber decorated entirely with panels backed with court leaf and mirrors, featuring 6 tons of glowing amber. It was often called the eighth wonder of the world. When the Nazis invaded the Soviet Union in 1941, they viewed the room as German heritage that needed to be repatriated. The room was dismantled in 36 hours, packed into 27 crates, and shipped to Königsberg Castle in East Prussia, where it was put on display. As the war turned and the Red Army closed in on Königsberg in 1945, Hitler ordered looted treasures moved. But Königsberg was heavily bombarded by the British Royal Air Force and then besieged by the Soviets. The castle was destroyed. When the smoke cleared, the Amber Room was gone. Did it burn in the bombardings? Was it secretly looted onto a ship that was sunk by a Soviet submarine? Or does it sit in a sealed Nazi bunker beneath the mountains of Poland or Germany waiting to be discovered? Countless treasure hunters have tried to find it. Lives has been lost in the pursuit, but the ultimate faith of the eighth wonder of the world remains one of the World War II's darkest secret. So how do you like this unknown and strange facts about the history of World War II? Comment below which you felt absurd. Also subscribe for more such contents.